Awesome. Well, thank you for having us. It's so cool to be a part of this for such a long time and see it grow and see the community come together. So on behalf of Zolt and myself, we're honored to be here. We're on a mission to reduce single-use culture, one cup and plate and utensil at a time. Um, my background in particular is in the waste industry, and so I don't need to drill this into your heads, but the problem is pretty massive. We're drowning in garbage at the moment. If you just look at cups, there's 15,000 disposable cups that are being thrown away every second. So that's 15,000 every second. Even after I said that, that's 60,000 cups. Meanwhile, recycling is nowhere coming near to addressing the problem. 5% of plastics are being recycled in the US, which means that 95% are actually ending up in landfill. And, in the last couple of years, some eco-friendly alternatives have come forth as, the solution to waste. But they all come with their downsides as well. Aluminum products, let's just call it for whatever they are, um, they're more likely to be recycled, but still, it's incredibly environmentally intensive to make them in the first place. It takes a lot of energy and resources to mine metal. It takes a lot of energy and resources to melt it back into something else. You've all seen bioplastic cups or forks or plates. I come from the waste industry. I used to work. I work with a lot of waste consultants who have seen those sorting facilities. I will tell you, not a single piece of bioplastic in New York City is actually being processed into compost. It's being screened out at the sorting facility as a landfill contaminant. And just because it's made from corn, it still acts like plastic at the end of the day. So it takes just as long to break down, and it's really not solving most of the problem. So every scientist will agree, reusing something is always going to be better than throwing something away or making something just to be used once. And that's regardless of material. So especially plastic polypropylene, it pays for itself in just 3 uses. So on that fourth use, you're actually breaking even and doing better for the planet, regardless of material, as it terms to everything else. And that's across the board. That's CO2 emissions, that's water usage, energy, resource extraction, etc. So at Cup Zero, we're challenged with the task to keep up with this really fast-paced, low-cost world that we've built in a way that actually doesn't hurt the planet. So we offer full service reusable programs that fit seamlessly into our clients' operations. They're customized, they're turnkey. We tailor them to meet the needs of each specific event or venue. We've got full end-to-end logistics from the order to the delivery to the collection points to the on-site support pickup, and then of course we really go to work by washing, sanitizing, quality controlling, so all these items can be reused again and again. So not only is this good for the planet, but really event organizers, promoters are starting to see the benefits too. This is a big PR sustainability thing that's in everyone's hands. It's a tangible sustainability initiative to showcase that you're doing something right for the planet. Attendees say that they're more likely to buy tickets when the organizer or the festival or the venue is doing something sustainable. Not only that, especially when we start to get really more towards zero waste, you start to see the cost savings, the waste savings, and we actually create revenue generating programs for our customers as well. So a few of the names that we've worked with, and actually I have to update this because now, as of this weekend, we're up to 50,000 attendees. But since 2021, we've done over 1,400 events and venue deliveries. We've saved, 1.6 million cups from heading to landfill. You can see on that list, especially if you're in New York, some well-known spaces. I got to give Thomas Preddy a shout out here. Tommy's on the call. But we've been working with them for a couple of years. They're such a joy and a pleasure to work with, and they really walk the walk when it comes to sustainability. So highly recommend and happy to be working with you guys. So this is a snapshot of our New York facility. We're headquartered in New York. This is where we got our start. We can wash over 100,000 units a week. But we also have wash hubs in Miami, South Florida, Austin, Texas, and Los Angeles. And we have the ability to service nationwide. So if you're running a festival in Ohio, we can make that happen. We have an event this weekend in Las Vegas, Nevada. And a lot of that, total number of washed units has happened this year. So we're really rising to meet the demand of the reuse economy. So I want to run you through kind of like how we work as a whole, and then a bunch of case studies as well, so you can get an idea of like the breadth of the kind of clients and project that we work on. And then, of course, we'll open it up to questions afterwards. So nuts and bolts, essentially, we try to fit into your operations as seamlessly as possible. Instead of ordering disposables from somewhere else, you order them from us and we get them to the event or to the venue on time. You still need to project how many drinks or how many, plates of food that you're going to serve. We make sure all those reusables get to the venue on time. Then sometimes us or with the bar crew, they get distributed to all the different points of sale. If you can imagine a festival grounds with 12 different bars, those have to go from one place to where they'll need to be to serve drinks in the long run. I've got another slide on deposit systems, but a lot of our customers implement some kind of financial mechanism to engage people in the program, to get people to participate, to return them, and account for loss. So attendees might pay a deposit, they might exchange that and not pay that deposit, or return that cup to get rewards, raffle tickets, their money back, etc. Meanwhile, with us and the help of the cleaning crew, we're really consolidating the cups and the reusables from around the venue, around the space, getting them consolidated to be picked up. And that's where we really go to work. We've got high-powered, high-class washing facilities where we wash, we sanitize, we quality control reusables so they can be used again and again and again. The only difference I will say between a one-day event, like a festival or a conference, to a standing venue, on the venues, we're doing weekly swaps of the reusable. So we're picking up the dirty cups and plates from the week before, and we are dropping off the next batch for that week. So we've got a bunch of different sizes of cups, and with our supplier, we can get you whatever you need. But our cups are made of polypropylene. It's number 5 plastic. This is what quart containers are made of in kitchens. It's generally regarded as the most food safe and high quality plastic for food service. But we also and it's the lowest emissions by material type actually. So I know plastic gets a bad rap, but it's the lowest emissions per material type. That's what I was looking for. That's why I got confused. I didn't know I put an animation in there. But we also have plates that resemble food boats. We've got multi-utensils. We've got coffee cups and lids. Again, whatever reusables there are, or whatever disposables there are that we can see a use case of, we're happy to have that inventory to make this, closer to zero waste. We've got a couple different collection point options as well. One is good for indoor settings, higher end type of events. The one on the bottom right is really great for outdoor stuff. It's collapsible. It's really high visibility, so you can't miss it when you're walking by. But we can also make custom collection points to suit the aesthetics of the venue as well. So I mentioned we do a couple different deposit systems. We've always played the role of advising our customers on what we think would work best, but ultimately it's their call, it's their attendees, it's their event, it's their venue. So we just try and guide them in the right direction of what this is. What we find is it's really important to have the conversation with attendees that this is a reusable item and it's not meant to be thrown away. We have seen the difference this summer of putting some kind of conversation in there, a deposit system, a discount on the future drink, and having no messaging. And that's the difference between, 20% ending up in the trash that needs to be sorted out versus 50 or 60% that needs to be sorted out afterwards. So it's really important to have these conversations to let people know. After all, we're changing culture, right? You need to have this conversation. This is not a throwaway thing. So again, a couple of the options are listed down here, but you can either put a deposit on the reusable, refund them at the end if they return it. They can refund it to get a drink ticket or prizes or cash back. But you can also bake that into the drink price and then incentivize people to go back to the bar to buy another drink by getting a lesser amount for the other one. So we're always looking at what kind of technology we can use. So we've tested out things like individual container tracking. We're working on doing automatic refunds as well. I don't think we've landed on the one be all fits all solution for this. I don't think any company has yet, but we know that this is part of the future and we are trying to work with this and create those solutions that are going to really make a seamless customer experience. And of course, if you want your logo on it, we can do it as long as it's a recurring project. So a venue, for example, we can totally do this if those cups are going to be used for a long time. Sponsors, are a great way to subsidize a program or pay for the cups. We just want to steer away from doing a one-day swag type of branding. Annual conference 2023, no one needs any more cups, that are being taken home to sit in their cupboard forever. So I'm going to run you through a couple case studies and projects. And again, we work with a pretty diverse customer base. So this will give you an idea of how we work, how we kind of set things up, how we look at these projects. So the picture on the left is King's Theater. This is kind of your classic use case, I would say, for a reusable program. It's an enclosed environment. This is a venue in Brooklyn. It's 3,400 people. They are going through 10 to 12,000 cups a month, and they're actually generating revenue by implementing this deposit system into their drink price, giving people a discount when they actually come back for it. This is an event producer in South Florida called Sanctuary. We've been working with them for a couple years. They run 1,000 to 3,000 person events at varying venues around South Florida. We are not only providing the cups, but we're also setting up collection bins, hanging signage. We're also providing on-site support to sweep the venue and actually sort the waste at the end for any cups that are misplaced there. And we've got really great case study when we're in charge of that process. Same kind of deal. This is a venue in South Florida, Wynwood Studios. They are just launching as a venue, but they had a 1-month activation in South Florida. Kind of a hybrid here of a venue space where we're actually providing the on-site support as well. Here's a big one. This is a framework. It's under construction. This is an LA-based event producer. If you ever see the drone shots from this event, they are insane. This was a Hollywood Boulevard shutdown. It was a historic street closure, 12,000 people. Zolt here made some magic happen because they gave us 10 days lead time, and we were able to get cups across the country, collection points, assemble a team to help make this happen as well. And like I said, this is big volume in an outdoor space where everyone's coming together, and we can, make this project happen. Another rabbit out of the hat pulled by our dear friend Zolt here. This was an event that's happening as we speak. It's 50,000 people, but they called us over Thanksgiving weekend because their plans fell through. And again, if there's a will, there's a way, and we're happy to take on the project if we can make it happen, ultimately to reduce waste. If you are in New York and you're a runner, has anyone ever run here? Just by show of hands. This is the most no-brainer type of concept because if you're ever getting water at a race, you are drinking 1/3 of a cup of water for literally 1 second and then throwing it away. So we've done 2 pilots with the New York Roadrunners, smaller races. They run the New York City Marathon. But we've done both a pre-race water station and a post-race water station. Really great success, high recovery rates. Runners get it. They're all sober at 7 in the morning. Surprise, surprise. But they have a really clear line of sight, to drinking their water and putting the point there. There's a lot of staff there. Again, this is a no-brainer, a really proud moment for us to be able to eliminate, such a great amount of waste in such a short period of time. And here we have a school in Red Hook, Brooklyn. A lot of schools have their own washing infrastructure, especially in the middle of the country. So if that's in place, by all means, schools should be using this. In New York City, the volume's pretty high when you're running multiple meal periods at the same time. There's not always enough staff to do that. So these were grant-funded reusables that we provided the servicing for. We worked with the nonprofit that was helping to devise the messaging, get kids engaged in this. And, for us, getting this into schools and starting this messaging that you don't have to live in a throwaway society is super, super important to us. And again, if you are in New York and if you've gone to a Broadway show, you've probably gotten a souvenir cup of Juliet or Titanic or something like that. Again, no one needs the swag. This is a decade-old program that we're trying to fix and help reduce the waste in. But we've started a take-back program of those souvenir cups. So if you don't want to take it home, you can leave it. We'll wash it, sanitize it. And actually get it back into circulation. We are rolling this out to most of the Broadway theaters as we speak. And the last 2 case studies I want to point to is really how we can get to actual zero waste. I know our name is Cup Zero, but we are in the business of helping events really look inclusively at their food and beverage programs and help guiding them to a place where they can make as minimal impact as possible. So the first one, and if you've been, on these meetings, I actually did a presentation with Ben Cogan of Reusable Solutions about a year ago. On this, he was helping organize the Imagine Zero Festival. 600 people, so it was on the smaller side in terms of festivals at least. Um, but I am not kidding you, 600 people all day, and there was one bag of trash created from this event. And that one bag was paper towels from the porta potty. We had reusable cups, plates, utensils. Everything was made in kegs. And so again, while this wasn't the biggest, like this is a roadmap for how events can be done zero waste. So some quick bullet points on the bar program. You have to have that conversation ahead of time to make sure the bar is serving everything in kegs, right? Reusable kegs, wine, cocktails, beer, those can all be kegged. That eliminates the need for cans, wine bottles, liquor bottles, things like that. And you can use reusable cups. And again, you've got zero waste. But that conversation needs to be had ahead of time when you're sussing out your vendors. Food as well, food trucks and the vendors coming in, they need to be told that, hey, this is, what we're going to be used. If you want to come to the festival, this is the goal that we're trying to achieve, and this is what we're doing here. Burritos, you guys hungry yet? I guess it's after lunch. All the food pictures. I forgot my animations. Water stations as well. A lot of festivals have made steps to have like water refill stations to get rid of all those pesky plastic water bottles. Here was a more informal approach, but again, thinking ahead of time, where's the waste can be generated and how can we solve that, by change of practice or reusables. Backstage, this is something I totally forgot about, but all of the musicians, they request snacks, they request meals, they request drinks backstage. So we actually created custom zero waste packs for behind the stage as well. And of course, we're setting up collection points around there. We had a team to help manage the program. This is what we set up for the plates and the cups. This is actually really helpful because it's visible. People see it, they're bright blue. And once people see two plates stacked, they kind of follow suit in there. And this is a picture I took at the end of the event. There was no cleaning crew on site. There's no trash on the ground, right? This is a really amazing example of what events could be. And again, smaller scale, but this is the roadmap of how it can be scaled up. Speaking of scale, sorry for the blurry images. This is what I got pulled. If you're in New York, there is an amazing city park slash music venue under the Kosciuszko Bridge. And again, the drone shots of this thing are pretty crazy. But it's run by the North Brooklyn Parks Alliance. They brought us in as sustainability partners to help manage their waste program end to end. And they helped mandate that all of the event producers would participate in some form of reusable cup program for this year. So these are events of varying sizes. Big national headliners, 10,000 people in attendance, Caribbean summertime barbecue type of events, nonprofit fundraisers, smaller DIY nightlife type events. All of those events we worked with to create a custom solution for them to help reduce the waste. At events of this size, you do need to have a plan to manage and sort the waste. And once you are sorting waste for cups and everything like that, it's really a shame to not sort out the cans at the same time. So we not only provided like a cup recovery service, but also a full recycling sorting service for them as well. I think the coolest part about this partnership was working with other organizations and nonprofits in the area. Oh, sorry. I'll get to that. But really big impact here. So this was 22 events over the course of the summer, almost 100,000 cups that we saved from going into landfill, and top right, almost 90,000 cans and bottles that we rescued, again, from going to the landfill, that wouldn't have been, recycled otherwise. People always forget it takes a lot of resources to make stuff in the first place. It takes a gallon of water to make a cup in production end to end. So between the cups and the recycling program, we were able to avoid, almost 260 gallons of water from being used in production of those single-use items. 33,000 pounds of CO2. That's like 15 tons. This is real impact that we're creating, real metrics that can be used to hit sustainability goals for these event producers. And I was mentioning, I think the coolest part of this partnership was working with other organizations to make it happen. So we worked with Sure We Can. It's a can redemption center in Brooklyn. New York is a bottle bill state, so there's a deposit on cans and bottles. There's an entire economy of people who make their living by collecting these cans and bottles from around the city and redeeming them for money. We actually employed those people to be our sorting labor force. We paid them a fair wage, and they were able to take any cans and bottles that they found to really boost their income. We were able to promote from within as well. The people who really got it and showed some leadership ability became our site and sorting leads as well by the end of the summer. And if you look at this picture, again, sorry for the blur. This is real waste that we are taking out of the waste stream. So on the left, these are all of our cup collection bins. Those are cups stacked inside there. So if you can imagine if that was sprawled out in trash bags, and all of these cans as well, the park was able to order one less 30-yard waste container. This is a real line item that can be avoided when you start to take more drastic steps towards zero waste. And then imagine Zero Festival. They didn't need a waste, management provider. They didn't need a cleaning crew because of some of the elements that they were implementing. So we're here to meet you, wherever you need to go on your journey to zero waste. First it starts with a conversation. We got to figure out what your event is, what your goals are, and then ultimately create a plan to get you as far, as close to zero waste as you can. Um, I think that's it, folks. But thank you so much. I'm going to take a sip of water and maybe let Zolt answer the first question.